Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the Uptrend.com. In the pre-market this morning, stock index futures are currently trading slightly below fair value. We don't have any major economic numbers coming out this morning. We do have some earnings. Home Depot is out with earnings this morning, and they are up in the pre-market, so that's helpful. Of course, when you see all that destruction on the news from the major storms, you know Home Depot is there to help people put their lives back together, and of course, that can be profitable. Bitcoin's in the news this morning, making a new high overnight, and Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrencies popped last week after the election, and there's Ethereum popping, and all the related ETFs have been up over the last week, and a lot of the stocks have also followed suit, including Bitfarms. There's Coinbase popping higher yesterday, a new high for Galaxy on Monday, a huge move up for Hut 8 on Monday, and you can see we gapped higher for Mara, and there's MicroStrategy making a new high on Monday. Now, fear dropped dramatically last week and took us from being on a buy signal to a sell signal very quickly after the election. And of course, when we've got the VIX on a sell signal, that's supportive for higher stock prices. For the VIX for the S&P 500, it actually closed slightly higher yesterday. We're looking for a close on Tuesday above 1929. Now, the VIX for the NASDAQ and the Russell both moved up yesterday. Oddly enough, the VIX for the TSX has barely moved in the last week, and that has a lot to do with the fact that it wasn't a Canadian election, it was a U.S. election, and commodity prices have been falling over the last week, which is not supportive for the Canadian stock market. Now, this morning, I wanted to take a couple of minutes talking about big round numbers. Whatever stock you're looking at, whatever ETF, whatever index you're looking at, or commodity, they're all going to have their own individual big round numbers. So for a penny stock, it could be $1, could be $2, could be $3. For one of the Magnificent Seven stocks, it could be $100, $200, $500. Whatever it is, those are big round numbers, and they often act as psychological resistance on the way up and psychological support on the way back down. Now, typically, our mathematical targets might not pick up all of the big round numbers. They're not mathematically, relevant, but they are psychologically relevant. So for the NASDAQ 100 ETF, for, a lot of 2024, we were watching the $500 level. And as we ran up to that in the summer, that acted as resistance. Now, it acted as resistance again in the fall until it didn't last week, where we actually started to trade above it. Now, it's not a clear break yet. 531.25 is our next target, but, we're still stuck to the $500 level so far. Now, looking at the SPY, if we look at this weekly chart, we are coming up to $600, but it's not on the chart. And so you need to incorporate that into what you're looking at. And that's also true for the index itself. So there's no sign of $6,000 here on this particular chart, but you need to incorporate that into your price projections. Now, when we look at the daily SPY price target chart, you can see our next target is 609.38. I would also tell you to watch $600, even though that's not on the chart. And that's also true for the index. Our next target is $6,093.75, but you need to incorporate 6,000 into your projections. Now, what happened yesterday? Well, we closed at 598.76 for the SPY, got as high as $600.17 before pulling back. So is the big round number of $600 acting as resistance? I would say so. Now, for the index itself, we closed at $6,001.35. So have we broken away from it? We did trade higher during the day at $6,017.31. That was the high for the day. So yes, I would say 6,000 is still acting. We closed just slightly above it, but we haven't broken away from it just yet. And currently in the pre-market this morning, we're trading down below that $6,000 level. So just always try to incorporate those big round numbers into your price projections, and you'll often find that they act as resistance on the way up and support on the way back down. Now, there's been a lot going on in the world of commodities over the last week, and unfortunately, it's not going to help the Canadian stock market a lot. There's a crude oil gapping lower yesterday back on a sell signal, as did the price of gasoline. Natural gas, on the other hand, popped on Monday. It's back on a buy signal. Looking at the stocks, the iShares for the TSX energy sector were down slightly on the day, still on a buy signal, unlike the U.S. energy sector, which was up over 0.5% on the day. Remember, a big difference, Trump told the U.S. energy sector, give me $1 billion, you can do whatever you want. I don't know how much money changed hands, but it certainly looks like they're going to be able to do whatever they want. Now, copper's been flopping all over the place last week. Copper stocks on a sell signal. The GLD gapped lower yesterday. Gold stocks on both sides of the border moved down sharply. Of course, the opposite is the bear ETFs. On the TSX, the HGD was up over 12% on the day, looking to see if it can break out above the October high. Then we've got palladium and platinum both moving lower yesterday. The price of silver continued to move lower, and silver stocks also moved lower on Monday. Next up, let's take a look at the U.S. most actives from Monday's trading action. There's Tesla gapping higher yesterday, making a new high. We had a small pullback for NVIDIA yesterday, still trading above the upper channel line. We need a close on Tuesday below $139.86 to give us a new sell signal. Big move up in all the crypto stocks. There's Mara moving sharply higher. Palantir made a new high. We had SoFi gap higher yesterday. No joy yet for Lucid. It was up on the day, still looking for a close above $2.39 to give us a buy signal on Tuesday. Riot Platforms gapped higher. No joy for Supermicro, of course. It's been dead in the water for a while now. Then we've got SoundHound making a new high for this move. We saw ClearSpark gap higher yesterday. We had a reversal for Intel. It popped last week, and, it's being kicked out of the Dow. So I don't know, as I mentioned last week, maybe this is just a going away party that they're having for Intel. Of course, it'll still be trading, just won't be in the Dow. Pfizer making a new low for this move on Monday, and Trump Media traded back into the channel yesterday, looking for a close above $38.86 on Tuesday to give us a buy signal for Trump Media. Let's finish off this morning's presentation taking a look at the TSX most actives from Monday's trading action, starting off with Bitfarms at the top of the most active list, and we talked about that stock earlier. Then Enbridge made a new high for this move. We had a big reversal for Kinross getting slapped around there over the past couple of days, unlike B2 Gold, which continued lower on Monday. There's a new closing high for Manulife on Monday and a new closing high for Bank of Montreal. No joy for Veren. It's still on a sell signal here. That would change on Tuesday with a close above $7.70. Not expecting that to happen. Synovus looking for a close above $22.85. Not expecting that to happen. There's Barrick gapping lower on Monday. No change in trend, of course. TD Bank still on a buy signal. No change in trend there. Then a new high for Shopify on Monday. And next price target is $131.25. And I would certainly put an order in just below that level. How about $130.99? That might be an interesting place to put an order in. Okay, folks, thank you very much for your time and attention. That's it for this morning's presentation. Have a great day. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Wednesday morning.